Have you ever wondered why some people seem to manifest effortlessly, while others struggle for years without results? What if I told you the secret isn't about working harder, forcing affirmations, or chasing signs, but about something far more powerful, something almost invisible? The truth is, manifestation begins the moment you stop being lost inside the story and start becoming the observer of it. Most people live their entire lives as participants in their own drama. They get caught up in problems, emotions, and struggles. They fight with circumstances, argue with doubts, and cling to fears. But here's the twist. When you're fully immersed like this, you can't see the bigger picture. You're blinded by the very reality you want to change. That's why manifestation feels slow or impossible. You're too busy wrestling with the storm to notice that the sky has already cleared. Becoming the observer changes everything. Imagine stepping back and watching your thoughts, emotions, and actions like scenes in a movie. Suddenly you see patterns, you see the beliefs that drive your choices. You see the energy you're broadcasting into the universe. This shift is small, but it's radical, because once you see, you cannot unsee. And once you understand what you're truly projecting, you hold the power to change it. This is where manifestation begins, not when you scream your desires into the void, but when you observe yourself quietly, with awareness and without judgment. Observation is not passive, it is creation at its highest level. Quantum physics has a strange truth. Particles behave differently when they are observed. Observation changes reality. And if the very act of looking at something can alter its state, imagine what happens when you observe your own inner world. You stop being trapped by thoughts of lack or fear, and start tuning into abundance, into possibility, into a reality that already exists, but was hidden behind your distractions. In this video, you'll discover what it really means to be the observer in manifestation. You'll learn the difference between being consumed by your circumstances and standing above them. You'll see why detachment is not about giving up, but about gaining clarity. And you'll uncover why your attention where you choose to look creates the life you experience. But here's the suspense you can't ignore. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to the energy of the observer you choose to be. If you remain the observer of lack, you'll manifest more lack. If you become the observer of possibility, you open doors you never thought could exist. Stay with me until the end, because once you grasp this, you'll never see manifestation the same way again. You'll understand why becoming the observer is the very first step, the key that unlocks everything else. And when you learn to live from this space, manifestation no longer feels like a struggle. It becomes natural, almost effortless, because you are no longer fighting reality, you're shaping it. Would you like me to continue building the rest of the script based on the outline we made earlier? Before we talk about the power of becoming the observer, we need to look at something closer, something happening inside you every single second. Your thoughts. Thoughts are not random clouds drifting by. They carry energy, they carry frequency, and they carry emotion. Every thought you have sends out a vibration like a silent signal, and that signal is constantly shaping the reality around you. Some people don't notice this because it feels so ordinary. But the truth is, what you think and how you think creates patterns that attract experiences into your life. Think about it this way. When you wake up and the first thought in your mind is, "I'm tired. Today will be hard," you've already given the day a frequency. That thought sets the tone, and without realizing it, you begin to filter everything through that lens. Small inconveniences feel heavier, opportunities slip by unnoticed, and your energy matches the very thing you declared. On the other hand, if you wake up and think, "This day has something good for me," you open yourself to look for signs of that good. It's not magic, it's alignment. You are tuning your mind like an instrument, and the universe plays back the song you've chosen. Focus adds even more power. A single thought may pass, but when you keep thinking it, when you hold it in your attention, it gains strength. Focus is like a magnifying glass. Whatever you place under it grows bigger, brighter, and more real in your experience. This is why worrying feels so draining. Worry is focus placed on fear, and the longer you stare at that fear, the more alive it becomes in your reality. The same principle works with hope, love, or possibility. When you focus on gratitude, for example, you start noticing more things to be grateful for. The frequency multiplies, and your world begins to reflect it back. Emotion is the fuel behind it all. A thought without feeling is like a spark without fire. But when you attach emotion to a thought, it becomes alive. Think of the times you've imagined something and felt it so deeply that your body reacted. You smiled, you tensed up, or even shed tears. That's the kind of energy your thoughts are carrying out into the universe. The stronger the emotion, the stronger the signal. That's why fear spreads quickly. It is highly charged. But joy, love, and excitement carry even greater strength when you choose to feed them. The real shift begins when you start noticing. What do you say to yourself most often? Do you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this, I'll never have enough, things never work out for me? Or do you hear yourself saying, I am capable, I am guided, I trust that life is opening doors for me? These words may seem small, but they are powerful signals. Most people go through the day repeating thoughts they never chose, echoes of the past or of other people's beliefs. But when you observe these thoughts with awareness, you begin to see the patterns. And once you see the patterns, you hold the power to change them. Science gives us a fascinating clue about the power of observation, and it comes from the strange world of quantum physics. In the quantum field, particles are not fixed objects moving in predictable ways. They exist in states of possibility, shifting between wave and particle, until something interacts with them. What scientists discovered in famous experiments, like the double-slit test, is that simply observing particles changes their behavior. When unobserved, they behave like waves full of endless possibilities. But the moment they are measured or observed, they collapse into a single form, a definite reality. In other words, the act of looking changes what you see. This discovery shocked the scientific community because it challenged the idea of a world independent of us. It suggested that consciousness, or at least the act of observation, plays a role in shaping reality. Now, while quantum physics is not about manifestation directly, the analogy is powerful. If particles in the smallest building blocks of matter change depending on whether they're observed, what might that say about the role of your own observation in daily life? You are not simply living in a world that is fixed and unchangeable, you are participating in creating it, moment by moment through your awareness. Think about how this connects to manifestation. When you focus on your desires with clear intention, you're observing them into being. Just as particles collapse into a specific reality when observed, your focused attention collapses possibilities into experiences. The universe is full of potential outcomes, but the ones you energize with your observation are the ones that take form for you. If your observation is scattered, filled with doubt or negativity, you may keep collapsing realities that match that uncertainty. But if your observation is steady, intentional, and filled with belief, you begin to align with the outcomes you actually want. This is why being the observer matters so much. It is not about controlling every detail of how life unfolds, but about directing the lens of your awareness. Your attention is like a spotlight. Wherever you shine it, things begin to take shape. The science of quantum physics shows us that reality isn't as solid as it appears. It's flexible, dynamic, and responsive, and your role as the observer is far more powerful than you've been taught to believe. When you understand this, manifestation becomes less of a mystery and more of a conscious practice. You begin to realize that you don't have to chase outcomes or force circumstances. Instead, you tune into the frequency of what you desire, you hold it in your observation, and you let the universe respond. Just like the particle that chooses a path when observed, your life begins to choose alignment with what you focus on most deeply. The act of seeing with intention is the act of creating. If you observe lack, you will see lack everywhere. It becomes the lens you wear without even realizing it. You walk through life noticing bills piling up, opportunities passing by, doors closing, and people who seem to have more than you. Your mind collects proof to confirm what you already believe, that life is hard, that abundance is far away, that what you want never arrives. This isn't because abundance doesn't exist, but because your observation filters it out. When your inner world is locked on lack, your outer world reflects it back again and again. On the other hand, when you choose to observe abundance, something shifts. You start noticing small blessings that were always there but hidden from your awareness. You recognize opportunities instead of dismissing them. You see synchronicities, like meeting the right person at the right time, or stumbling upon a resource you needed. Observing abundance doesn't mean your bank account doubles overnight, or your desires show up instantly. It means your mind tunes to a different frequency, and life begins to match it. The world hasn't changed outside of you, you've changed the observer inside of you, and that changes everything you see. This is where the idea of the manifestation gap comes in. The gap is the space between what you feel now and what you want to experience. If you want abundance but constantly feel lack, there's a disconnect. You're asking for one thing while vibrating another. The universe is always responding to the energy of your observation, not just your words. So if you repeat affirmations of wealth while secretly feeling scarcity, the gap remains, and your manifestations stall. The gap can feel frustrating, but it is not a punishment. It's feedback. It's the universe showing you where your inner state doesn't yet align with your outer desires. If you want love but feel unworthy, the gap will keep reflecting situations that prove unworthiness. If you want freedom but feel trapped, you'll keep noticing limitations. Closing the gap requires shifting the observer, not forcing the outer world but adjusting the inner lens. This shift happens in small steady steps. Instead of observing everything that is missing, you practice observing what is present. You might start with gratitude for the simplest things: the roof over your head, the meal in front of you, the breath in your lungs. Gratitude changes the frequency of observation. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to see abundance everywhere, and as you shift, the gap narrows. You begin to feel aligned with what you want, and that alignment is the magnet that draws it closer. The truth is, the gap is only as wide as the difference between your current observation and your desired result. Once you bring your feelings into harmony with your desires, the gap dissolves. What you want no longer feels distant. It feels like a natural extension of who you are, and from that space manifestation begins to flow. Observing limiting beliefs begins with quiet awareness. You don't need to fight them or try to erase them. You simply need to notice them when they appear. A limiting belief often hides in the background of your thoughts, showing up in phrases like, "I can't," "it's too hard," or "that's not for me." These thoughts slip in unnoticed because they've been repeated so many times that they feel normal. The first step is to catch them. Pay attention to the stories you tell yourself about money, love, success, or happiness. Each time you hear a phrase that makes your world smaller, you've found a limiting belief. Negative patterns are the behaviors and reactions that come from those beliefs. Maybe you always give up too early, or you sabotage opportunities when they come close. Maybe you settle for less because deep down you think you don't deserve more. Observing these patterns doesn't mean criticizing yourself for them. It means stepping back and saying, "I see what I'm doing. I see the loop I'm in." This kind of observation brings light to habits that normally live in the dark, and once they are seen, they lose their automatic control. Judgment, however, is where many people get stuck. When you judge yourself for having limiting beliefs or negative patterns, you create resistance. You might think, "I shouldn't be thinking this way," or "Why can't I get it right?" That judgment adds another layer of negativity. Instead of freeing yourself, you tighten the grip of the very belief you want to let go. Manifestation doesn't respond to punishment or harshness. It responds to awareness, acceptance, and alignment.
When you observe without judgment, you create space. You can see the belief for what it is, not the truth but a thought you've repeated. You can recognize the pattern as a habit, not as your identity. This space is powerful because it gives you choice. You can choose to shift the thought. You can choose to pause before falling into the same reaction. Without judgment, you're not tangled in the belief, you're simply noticing it, like watching clouds pass across the sky. This non-judgmental observation also shifts your energy. Instead of sending out signals of shame, guilt or frustration, you radiate curiosity and openness. That energy invites new possibilities. It tells the universe you're willing to grow and ready to align with something greater. It softens the inner resistance that blocks manifestation and clears the way for new experiences to flow in. The key is remembering that limiting beliefs are not proof of your failure. They are reminders of where you have room to expand. Observing them without judgment is not weakness, it is strength. It shows that you are no longer blindly reacting but consciously choosing. And each time you practice this, you weaken the old patterns and strengthen the energy of the reality you want to create. Shifting your frequency begins with gratitude. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to change the energy you carry because it brings your focus to what is already working in your life. When you take a moment to truly feel thankful for the small things, the sunlight coming through your window, the food on your plate, the support of a friend, you immediately move out of lack and into abundance. Gratitude doesn't mean you ignore challenges or pretend everything is perfect. It means you choose to see what is present instead of what is missing. And the more you practice, the more you train your mind to notice blessings instead of problems, opportunities instead of obstacles. Visualization builds on this by engaging your imagination. When you close your eyes and picture your desired reality, you begin to experience it as if it already exists. The brain doesn't fully separate a vividly imagined event from a real one, which is why athletes, performers and creators use visualization to prepare for success. When you imagine your dream life with emotion, seeing yourself living it, feeling the joy of it, you start aligning your inner world with that vision. The energy of what you desire is no longer a distant dream, it becomes a lived experience inside you. That inner alignment is what begins to draw outer alignment. Affirmations are another tool to shift your frequency. The words you speak to yourself shape your identity. When you repeat affirmations like, "I am worthy of abundance," "I attract opportunities easily," or "I am aligned with love and success," you are planting seeds in your subconscious. At first these words may feel uncomfortable or untrue, especially if your current reality looks very different. But with repetition, affirmations rewrite the inner script. They remind you of the observer you want to be, not the old patterns you're leaving behind. Spoken with feeling and consistency, affirmations lift your frequency and reshape the story you live by. Changing your perception of current reality ties all of this together. Your circumstances may not instantly change, but how you see them can. A challenge can be a setback, or it can be an opening to learn. A delay can be rejection, or it can be redirection. When you shift your perspective, you change the energy you bring to the moment. Instead of resisting where you are, you accept it as part of your path. From that place, gratitude flows more easily, visualization feels more natural, and affirmations carry more truth. The outer world responds to the inner frequency you hold by practicing gratitude daily, visualizing with emotion and affirming your worth. You tune yourself to the reality you want rather than the one you fear. Over time, this shift in perception changes how you act, how you react, and what you attract. It's not about escaping your present, it's about transforming it by choosing to see through a lens of abundance, possibility, and alignment. Heart-brain coherence is the state where your thoughts and your emotions move in harmony. Most of the time, the mind is busy with worries, doubts, and endless thinking, while the heart quietly holds deeper wisdom and feeling. When the heart and brain are out of sync, you feel scattered, stressed, or disconnected. But when they come into alignment, something powerful happens. Your body enters a state of balance, your nervous system calms, and your energy becomes more magnetic. Science has shown that heart-brain coherence strengthens intuition, boosts creativity, and even improves physical health. In the context of manifestation, it allows you to send out a clear, steady signal instead of a mixed one. Emotional alignment is the essence of this practice. It's not enough to think about what you want, you must feel it. Thoughts are like the blueprint, but emotions are the fuel. You can think I am abundant 100 times, but if you feel fear and scarcity in your heart, the signal you broadcast is scattered. The universe responds to the energy you embody, not just the words you repeat. That is why aligning your heart with your mind is crucial. It brings your thoughts and emotions into one frequency, a coherent vibration that the world mirrors back. Feeling the emotion of what you want now, not later, is the secret to this alignment. Many people delay their feeling. They believe they will feel joy once the goal arrives, or peace once the struggle ends, or gratitude once the dream comes true. But waiting keeps you in separation. The universe responds to the energy you hold in the present, not the future. If you constantly place happiness on hold, you keep projecting a reality where it is always out of reach. The shift comes when you allow yourself to feel it now. Imagine your desire fulfilled and let your heart respond as if it is already here. If it's love, feel the warmth of being cherished. If it's success, feel the pride and expansion of accomplishing it. If it's abundance, feel the relief and freedom of having more than enough. The heart doesn't need physical proof to generate these feelings. It only needs your permission. By practicing this state of being, you create coherence between your heart and your brain, and that coherence is the frequency of manifestation. This practice is not pretending, it is training your energy to match the reality you want. When your heart beats with gratitude and your mind holds the vision of your desire, the gap between wanting and having closes. You begin to live in the vibration of your future, and the universe cannot help but respond. The more consistently you practice heart-brain coherence, the more natural it becomes to feel your desires in the present moment. And as you embody that alignment, you stop waiting for your dreams and start living them from the inside out. Once you set your observer role, the next step is to detach from how things happen. This is often the hardest part because the mind loves control. It wants to know every detail: when it will happen, how it will unfold, and what steps will bring it about. But manifestation doesn't work through control, it works through alignment. When you try to force the path, you create tension. You become the participant again, tangled in fear and impatience instead of the observer who holds steady awareness. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about what you want, it means you trust the process enough to let go of the constant need to manage it. Releasing control is powerful because control is rooted in fear. When you hold on too tightly, it's usually because you're afraid of not getting what you want, or afraid of losing it if it comes. That fear shapes your energy and it sends out a signal of lack. Instead of aligning with abundance, you're aligning with desperation. The universe reflects that back, giving you more experiences that reinforce the feeling of struggle. But when you release control, you release fear with it. You begin to live from a place of trust, and that trust opens doors you could never have forced open on your own. Expectations also create resistance. You may expect your desire to come in a certain way, through a certain person, or by a certain time. But the universe often delivers in ways you can't predict. If you hold on to one specific path, you might miss the opportunity that is already unfolding for you. Expectations shrink possibility. Detachment expands it. By letting go of rigid timelines and conditions, you leave room for something even better than what you imagined. Think of planting a seed. You place it in the soil, water it, and give it sunlight. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing, and you don't scream at the soil demanding it sprout by tomorrow. You trust the process of growth. You know the seed is alive beneath the surface, even if you can't see it yet. Manifestation works the same way. Once you've set your intention and aligned as the observer, you let the universe do its part. You keep nurturing the energy but release the need to control the timing and the form. Detachment is freedom. It frees you from anxiety, from chasing signs, from doubting yourself at every step. It allows you to rest in the knowing that your desire is already on its way even if you can't see it yet. And in that rest your frequency rises. You become more magnetic, more open, more aligned. The moment you release control and expectations, you step out of resistance and into flow. And flow is where manifestation moves effortlessly, carrying you toward outcomes that are not only aligned with your desires but often greater than you imagined. Morning mindfulness is one of the most effective ways to begin observing yourself. The first moments after waking set the tone for your entire day. Instead of rushing into tasks, scrolling through your phone, or carrying yesterday's worries into today, take a pause. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and notice what is happening inside you. Are you calm, anxious, hopeful, or distracted? This simple act of checking in allows you to see the state you are starting from. By observing without judgment, you give yourself the chance to shift before the day gathers speed. Pairing this with journaling can make the practice even stronger. Writing down your thoughts in the morning helps you bring the unconscious into the light. It reveals patterns, beliefs, or emotions that might otherwise guide your day unnoticed. Even a few minutes of honest writing can show you where your mind is focused and what energy you're about to carry forward. As the day moves on, awareness doesn't stop. The real power comes from observing your thoughts in real time. Notice the stories you tell yourself throughout the day. Do you catch yourself thinking, "This will never work," or "I always get ignored"? Each of these thoughts is like a small program running in the background. When you observe them, you interrupt the automatic loop. You remind yourself that thoughts are not facts, they are signals of where your focus is resting. By noticing them, you create space to choose again. You can replace, redirect, or simply let the thought pass without clinging to it. This level of awareness is how you shift from being a participant lost in the story to being the observer who sees beyond it. Small experiments can make this shift practical and exciting. For example, if you normally observe stress in your workplace, experiment by shifting your focus to moments of ease, like a friendly smile, a completed task, or a quiet break. Watch how the energy of your day changes when you deliberately choose a different observation. If you tend to observe scarcity, try shifting your attention to signs of abundance, no matter how small. Maybe it's the way the sun shines through the window, the kindness of a stranger, or the flow of money in unexpected ways. By observing abundance, you create space for more of it to appear. These small shifts may seem subtle, but over time they rewire how you experience reality. Life responds to the lens you use. Every time you pause to journal, every moment you notice a thought, every experiment you try, you are training yourself to step into the role of observer. And with each practice, you begin to see the connection between what you focus on and what unfolds in your life. The more you observe with intention, the clearer it becomes that your awareness itself is shaping your experience. This is not about controlling life, but about learning to shift your perspective, and with that shift, the world you live in begins to change. Manifestation is not about sitting back and waiting for life to hand you everything you want. That's the misuse, turning this understanding into passive hoping. Expecting without alignment creates frustration because the energy and actions don't match the desire. Belief in manifestation is powerful, but it doesn't replace the inner work, the self-awareness, and the consistent choices that bring your vision into reality. When you align belief with action, your path becomes clear and your results flow naturally. If this message resonated with you, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content that helps you stay aligned and empowered on your journey.